Hey guys, welcome back to the print house. This is kind of a personal video. I wasn't going to make this public, but I decided I would. But I had a couple people ask me about the IP setup and if you ever had a problem with Flexi connecting to your printer or your plotter when you're in RIP or trying to send. And a couple scenarios that I was in where when I initially set up the printer on my network, it wasn't working. None of that connectivity was, or all that, any of that was even working. So just doing further reading and trying to figure it all out, I discovered that you want to dedicate an IP address in your router on your network and configure the printer to that IP address so it has a dedicated IP address, and it would stop conflicts and automatic assigning IPs on the network. And if you're on Flexi and you run a job and it won't connect, you can temporarily, really quick, if you're in a rush, log into your printer, get the IP address, and then just change it on your RIP temporarily. I haven't had to do that with the printer. I've done that with the plotter only because I didn't dedicate an IP to that yet. So here, I'll just do a quick browse through the menu just to show you where you go to look and check your IP. So just go into settings, scroll down to connectivity, go to network connectivity, go to well, you can go to network information, and that'll give you your local host name and everything. Now that's going to be the name that's going to show up on your router, this host name here. The MAC address also will show up on your router. Okay, but that's not going to give you your IP. If you just go to advanced, it's just a couple more options. But if you just go to gigabyte and then modify configuration, you can do, again, you could do information, or you can just go right to your TCP IP settings and then check your host name. This is where you can change your host name. This is what you can change it to whatever you want it to show in your router. Okay, go to your IP4 settings, and where it says manual settings, go to IP address. This is the IP address you want to connect to on your router. So on my router, and also this is an HP 115, guys, Latex 115. This is the IP address I dedicated on my router. So you input that in here, and now that matches the router. That's fine. And then also, depending on what gateway, what service you have, you want to make sure you set your default gateway. Mine is 10.0.0.1. That's pretty normal for Comcast. And then your subnet, which is 255.250.0. That's pretty common stuff. So that's pretty much it as far as your IP. If you're having issues with your IP connection, dedicate an IP address on your router for sure. Okay. I have the way I just showed you is the way I've been running it. I've not had one issue, except for a couple times when I would wake up from sleep, I would power it down, and that's maybe once or twice. I never had a problem from Flexi connecting. It was once I was using the cutter, and I had to change the IP temporarily for that. So I just haven't gotten around to doing that because honestly, I haven't used this cutter as much as I have the printer. So but that's how you would check your IP, your submask gateway, submask, and your gateway on your HP Latex. Now, I don't know how much different any of the other models are, but I believe 315, all the 300, 100 series are going to be the same. Now, if we start bumping up to 365, I don't know if it's going to be the same menu layout. I really don't know. So that's just mine on doing up HP Latex 115. I hope that helps you guys. I had a couple of questions about the IP address, setting up your router. I'm not going to go into setting up the router, but you would just log into your administration screen on your router, and you want to go to dedicated IP, and depending on what router you have, you might have to search and find out where that's at, but it's not real hard to do. And then, like I said, just match what I did here explaining to your router, so you'll be fine. Cool. Well, thanks for liking, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit that notification, and if you have any other questions on HP Latex 115, feel free to ask. Thanks, guys. Bye.